8 stone. It's the second day of the Queen's stay in Paris, and all along the route, Parisians are shouting, "Long live the Queen! Vive la Reine! Vive la Reine!" She was on her way with the President to a reception at the City Hall. After the chairman of the council had offered his welcome, the royal party proceeded to the Grand Salon for the official ceremonies of a civic greeting. The presentation of the bouquet was made by two small children whose birthdays coincide with those of Prince Charles and Princess Anne. Gifts for the royal children were then offered to the Queen. A splendid model of the Paris Underground Railway for the young prince. His father will have fun with it, the Queen's reported as saying. And for Princess Anne, a lovely set of beautifully made French dolls. The historic Palace of Versailles, some 12 miles out, was the scene of Her Majesty's next engagement. The 17th century palace, with its magnificent setting of avenues and vistas and fountains, is a most fascinating place. The royal visitors saw it all at its very best in beautiful, bright spring weather. Inside the former royal apartments, there's a wealth of historic detail to inspect. Furniture used by Louis XV had been specially brought from museums for Her Majesty to see in its original setting. The Queen had changed in the palace before luncheon was taken in the magnificent Hall of Mirrors. What a tremendous day this was. In the evening, Her Majesty embarked in a launch for a cruise up the River Seine. She was now wearing a wonderful gown of silver lace embroidered with brilliants. Looking very regal and clearly excited by the prospect of the trip, the Queen was presently fascinated by the tableaux and pageants presented for her entertainment along the river banks. Scenes illustrating events and periods in French history were produced with brilliant showmanship throughout a cruise that lasted over an hour. The great Cathedral of Notre Dame, like many famous landmarks on the route, was floodlit. Banks and bridges flashed and sparkled, as Paris said it with a fusillade of fireworks. Next day, the Queen, whose dresses aroused intense interest, was wearing a most attractive black and white ensemble for her visit to General Norstad. Later in the afternoon, the Queen and Prince Philip inspected the Renault car works at Flins, a suburb of the capital. Her Majesty and the Duke went all round in one of the factory's products. And the handsome gift of a Dauphine car was made to the Queen. Her Majesty's last engagement in Paris was at the Louvre, and she adopted yet another new style in a dark shade for the state banquet, to be given by the French government to its royal guests. The Louvre, once a residence of French kings, is now one of the most renowned museums of art in the world. The banquet and the reception brought her Paris visit to a close. It had been a supreme triumph for the Queen, whom the French Republic had delighted to honor. Sparkling, brilliant, unforgettable.